Today I'm going to talk about overcoming laziness. Let's go.
I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumet Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I'm talking about overcoming your laziness, okay? So basically I've heard this growing up so many times, okay? It starts to form your identity after a while. When you start hearing over and over and over again that, oh man, you're so lazy, you're so lazy, you're so lazy, and it gets imprinted in the subconscious mind, okay? So the important thing to understand is we're emotional beings, right? We, by using emotion, then justify using logic. And it's important to understand that our heart and how we're feeling things are sometimes getting us to not take action on things, okay? If we're feeling bad about something, generally we're not going to take action towards that thing because we have all of these unconscious memories that are stopping us or pulling us back in a sense, okay? So the first thing to work through is actually your emotions that are stopping you from your goals, stopping you from your dreams, your visions, what you wish to attain, okay? For certain people who have made it consistent for them to improve their state of flow, they have a flow state practice that they're doing daily, right? Maybe you have that, maybe you don't. What I'm saying is it's important for you to lean into your head, your heart, and your hands. So it's the information that you're getting through the eyes, the inspiration that you're getting from source, and the implementation that you're actually acting out, doing through your hands. A lot of this information is from Jim Quick, and as soon as I heard this video, I was like, I'm going to implement it. I'm going to make you guys a video on this topic, right? And so that's the way that my mind kind of conceives these things. It's like, oh, I have this information, I have to put it to use. If I don't put it to use, I'm not going to truly embody and learn it. I'm not going to consolidate. The most important I is integration, right? So the recovery phase of the flow cycle, when you go through that book and you read a bunch of stuff, or when you do that program and you're doing all this, you're in the flow. But then you've got to consolidate it and actually do something with that. Now, the best way that I do this is I teach others, okay? I teach others these concepts and then I learn it a second time, okay? Teaching something is learning something again. And there is this confidence-competence loop, okay? So the more competent you are at something, the more confident you are, the more competent you are. And it's this amazing feedback loop that you can ride on. So if you become really, really skilled in that specific area, it's going to be more second nature to you, okay? So first of all is the skill development. The skill development leads to the emotional development. The emotional development leads to the skill development, okay? So this is the secret to overcoming laziness. You've got to work with your neurochemistry, your oxytocin, your serotonin, your dopamine, your endorphins, all the juicy neurochemicals that come out when you're in a flow state experience of any kind. So what are those relaxing moments? What are those peaceful moments that fill you up with life throughout your days? Okay, maybe you're playing with your dogs. Maybe you're going for a brisk walk in the park. Maybe you are listening to some music that starts to cause new neural connections, like some classical music or some, EDM, or maybe it's hip hop or jazz, whatever really floats your boat, gets you going, gets you moving, gets you into that momentum. I know that if I play some DJ Blend, I'm gonna want to move around and do things, right? I'm gonna want to do some push-ups or things like that. So I know how my brain works. It's the self-awareness that really becomes the foundation of overcoming this laziness. Because when you catch yourself going down that path where you're like, nah, I'd rather not, yeah, you can hear the frequency of that sound and be like, yeah, I know when my brain does this, right? I don't really want, I don't know. You have to exaggerate that in your mind where you can catch it and be like, this is not me, this is not my character. Okay? I'm not lazy, maybe I'm just tired, I'm just exhausting myself because I'm not doing enough things that I love. I'm not doing enough things that fill me up with inspiration. I'm fatigued because I'm not doing things that fill me up with light and life. and enthusiasm. So when you catch this voice coming in, this procrastinator voice, right? We've all heard it. Yeah, just push it off to the side. No, it won't really matter. Who cares anyway? Listen, you got to make this about, if not you and your mission, you got to make it about other people. Okay? You've got to make your mission about other people. Like, when I show up each day making these videos, they're helping certain people. Right? They're getting these downloads, they're getting these flow state frequencies, and with that, they're able to create throughout their day. Now, not all of you are content creators, and you don't have to be. However, if you're still sharing it with a friend, if you're writing it down, if you're putting it to use, if you're creating a podcast, if you're doing all of these things, you're learning faster, okay? You're actually meta-learning, as Jim Quick would say. If you really apply that technique of you catch that annoying procrastinator voice, you push it to the side, you almost distance yourself from it, like, wait a minute, that's not me. And then what you do is you lean in the closest that you can towards the goal. So let's say that day, if I'm like, I have this Indian club, right? So I swing it around and such. So if one day I'm like, I don't want to do this or whatever, what I do is I'll just lift it up a little bit. I'll just kind of swing it around as much as I want to. I'm still leaning into the activity. The resistance is slowly chipping away as I'm doing that. So I tell myself, hey, maybe I'll do 5. Then after I've done 5, midway 5, you're like 1, 2, 3, I decide another second decision over that decision, then I'm going to do 5 more. And then as I do 5 more, the momentum is already there. So I'm like, I'll do 2 more. Okay, as I do 2 more, I'm like, I can do 2 more, right? And it stacks like that. So understand that you can always stack that energy, okay? You don't always need to go right pen to page and start drawing. You can draw a little circle and just hold it there. And then give it the space that it needs. And then you come in with another dot. And then you start going. You just start scribbling a little bit in the corner. And that scribble turns into another drawing, right? And that's how you want to ride this wave. Is you want to lean in a little bit, the closest that you can to it. You see, if you're practicing socializing with people, which I've been practicing for a while, however, it's still a journey, it's still a process. We're constantly learning in terms of that, right? The social arts is not easy to maneuver and master in one day. Like, you've got to really work on this thing. And so, if I don't push myself to talk to somebody, I will at least do the tiniest thing. Like, maybe I'll just walk past them or whatever. You know what I mean? I'll just walk past them, or I'll just say hi, or I'll ask for the time or something silly, or I will do something which moves me in the direction of what I truly prefer. And this is the energy that you're really looking towards, that decisive state. You see, if you were led to just believe that, imagine this was like a virtual reality simulation game where, you've played GTA for most of your life. Now, what if suddenly you realize that, wait a minute, there's another game within GTA that I could be playing, right? Like, a specific type of life, a specific lifestyle, the way it's going, but then you realize, wait a second, I can unlock different levels of this new game that is within this game. Now, that's what I'm really talking about when it comes down to changing your habits, or even like moving into this separate lifestyle of moving forward into this self-development structure that you're creating for yourself, right? It's really important that you understand it almost with the analogy of you putting money into a bank, right? You depositing money into the bank. I got this from IMC Nation and the AZD process, right? And it's important you have that mindset of, like, every day I'm putting a little bit into the character upload. I'm installing different character traits through the behaviors that I take. Okay? So cold showers, it strengthens my ability to take action, lean into discomfort and resistance, right? It strengthens a lot of things within my character. If I'm working out or moving my body or doing boxing training, which I'm doing recently, I'm testing my resilience and my stamina, not my mental stamina as well, right? Not only my physical stamina. I understand that there's certain behaviors that I take that will install behavioral traits within me that won't make me lazy per se, but I just need encouragement. I just need a push. I just need that momentum and that motivation. And if I'm not getting it from the people online, I've got to generate that momentum and motivation within. Okay? So sometimes it'll be great if you watch a motivational video or something that really inspires you and pumps you up, and try implementing that throughout your workout or as you're doing something else, right? Why did I say upward spiral, gang? When I was depressed at a very low point in my life, when I was super depressed, and I don't do this to virtue signal or anything, man, like this was legit. I like couldn't get out of bed. I was down, and I remember telling myself, upward spiral, gang. I don't know where that came from or how that came into beingness. I know there's a book called The Upward Spiral, which is like reversing depression through the keys of neuroscience and things like this. But I just noticed that was the growth frequency. That was the growth mindset. And now my tribe says upward spiral, gang, like wild, like crazy, right? And we say it all the time because that's a reminder for ourselves to keep leveling up, to keep spiraling upwards, to keep ascending, to keep growing. And that is almost a anti-laziness frequency, right? It's an anti-complacency, because it's like, listen, if you wasted your time and now you're talking about, oh man, I wasted all that time, guess what? You're wasting more time complaining about you wasting time. If you're procrastinating and watching videos on procrastination, reading books about how not to procrastinate, guess what? You're feeding into the identity that you're a procrastinator. What you've got to be doing is reading books about taking action, reading books about time management, reading books about doing things that move you forward in that way. Okay? Not about procrastination, because that's a specific frequency. You might have the understanding of, let me learn all of the mechanics of how this works and how this procrastination thing works, because it's really holding me back and I'm really annoyed with it. And there's this energetic charge associated with it. So you got to take that energetic charge and put it in the opposite direction of taking action, of being a leader, of moving mountains with your words. This is the energy that we're talking about, guys, okay? You need a little nap? Okay, good. Take your little nap. Then get up, start doing things, start moving that energy around, and don't ever for a second get confused with the idea that if I don't perform, I'm not loved. That's one of the most crippling beliefs, as I explained in my post yesterday. Okay? That's one of the most crippling subconscious beliefs we can have, that if I don't perform, I won't be loved. And culture wants us to believe this because they want us to be workhorses. They want us to like work 24/7 and push forward and all this kind of stuff. And when we don't do that, we get shamed for it. Right? We get punished. A child is either given a reward or punished, usually in Indian schooling systems too, man. If you don't become academic, you get shamed for it. And there's this resentment, there's this despise against the academic institutes. And then we start hating wanting to learn new things. Whereas learning is a byproduct of you feeling good, of you feeling at one with yourself, where you're like, man, I want to learn something new about this. Not the fact that I was forced into playing piano for 17 years. Some of you were. I know you Asian kids, okay? Some of your parents have been pushing you to play piano for like 18 years, and you don't even like it, but you think one day it's going to click, one day, like, I hope to make them proud. Listen, you're living for somebody else. You're not living for the character in this video game that is called life. You're doing something to appease and approve of them because you feel like you're going to get punished subconsciously by them. Let that sink in for a little bit. Okay? Because this is really deep stuff that I'm sharing with you. I wouldn't just share this with you if it was just another random, video. You've got to have that self-care and that nurturing process as you go along. Okay? I understand that when you feel an exhaustion, when you're low in your energy, like you can go days without, shaving or showering or, cutting your nails and brushing your teeth, all this kind of stuff. I know that. I've been there and I understand that. But the thing is, man, when you start to value this video game character, this video game sleeve that you've installed, You understand that you can change it, right? You can change it through repetition. A lot of these YouTubers will try to shame you. Oh, if you don't do your morning routine, you're worthless. If you don't do this, oh, you're not good enough. That I'm not good enough feeling will trickle in to your decision making. Okay? You've got to first of all work on your emotions and your self-esteem. You want to boost yourself up from the internal world. I know Samba out there, man, you wrote yourself a self-love letter. I would highly recommend the person watching right now to do that. Write yourself a self-love letter. Way better than any of your exes ever have written you a love letter. Your neural network will give you a useful network on the outside world. If your brain is working faster, you're going to make more friends. Because you can just relate to that many more people. You have intelligence, not only mental intelligence, but emotional intelligence, musical intelligence. It's the competence. You need to become competent at your craft. Then there's not a question of laziness anymore. It's a question of discipline. Discipline is doing something when you don't feel like it, right? Doing something that you hate like you love it. Look at the size of my muscle, okay? And now look at how I was like years back, okay? Look at this muscle. Okay? You guys see that? You see the difference, right? I'm showing this to you to inspire you. That if you put in a little bit each day, it's going to transform your body, but not only that, your body is a direct reflection of your mind. So if you ever feel lazy, just exercise. Just exercise in any way that you can. For real, it's a different frequency. The people who exercise, just look at them. Look at their intensity. Look at the energy that they hold. Look at that, look at that let's go energy, right? That's a different frequency by itself. So even if at the bare minimum you can push yourself to do some movement, you'll get moving. Hope this video helps you out today. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's get it today. Upward Spiral Gang. Boom.